All right, Netflix fans, I actually went ahead and I made a post about this a couple of days ago, but yeah, I watched Family Reunion on Netflix. The first part, I believe, consisting of episodes 1 through 10, not counting the Christmas special. And to be honest, I actually liked it. I think that this show really captures the mood of a black family sitcom, but at the same time, it has some good moral messages within the writing. Now, sometimes I believe it's filmed in front of a live studio audience, at least the first part. I don't know if there was any filming that went on during the pandemic, because, I mean, the first part was released in July of 2019, which feels like an eternity ago, to be honest. I mean, good Lord. But I really enjoyed what I saw. And I wanted to do a video kind of like Dad Stop Embarrassing Me, except in this one I have more positive things to say. So go ahead and take a moment to hit the like button, hit subscribe, click the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content to the channel. Please, please, please do that. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description box below. I gotta say, I went into this show because I actually saw a very, very good comment on the Dad Stop Embarrassing Me video. It was like, you know what? I actually like this show, but the thing about it is, Jeremy, based on what you're saying, look back at some of the shows from back in the day, like the Jamie Foxx show, Martin, just to name some, black sitcoms. They were kind of corny and cheesy too. And I thought about that, and I agree. But the thing about it is the fact that when you look at Dad Stop Embarrassing Me, I think it's because we had seen David Allen Greer and Jamie Foxx in more quality sitcoms than the way they performed in Dad Stop Embarrassing Me. I just feel like that particular show, it felt like it was trying too hard to be funny, as well as like a lot of pop culture references and whatnot. I remember when I was about a few minutes into episode 1 of Dad Stop Embarrassing Me, I believe the oldest child is named Jade. Like, I was like, oh wow, she's going to be like the teenage girl off of Dad Stop Embarrassing Me, the one who's up to date on cultural references, and she's going to complain and be disrespectful. But I think it really worked here better, maybe because there was more than just one child. I remember in Dad Stop Embarrassing Me, it was just the one daughter, and she's surrounded by, her father, aunt, grandpa, and just other older people. So it really felt like she was being overly disrespectful because she was the fish out of water, basically the one child in the main cast. But here in Dad Stop Embarrassing, Family Reunion, it's Jade, her little sister, and 2 younger brothers. So I feel like there was a nice balance. I think one of my favorite lines from the first episode was when they were having like the family, Sunday dinner or whatever, basically to celebrate, or not Sunday, it was Saturday, Maz and his family, coming over to the house for the family reunion. And one of the kids mentioned Jade being a lighter complexion, and Maz was like, hey, all black comes in different shades and all black is beautiful. People went, oh yeah, applause by the live studio audience. And one of the brothers said, yeah, well, grandma's white, but she's still darker than Jade. When I tell you, I almost fell out of my chair laughing. And when I do this isn't a play-by-play. I'm not going to talk about every single episode. I'm just really going to talk about my overall thoughts in general. I think it was funny to see Coco Tia in a role like this, because the last time I believe she had a real prominent role in any series was obviously Med School or Melanie from The Game. So it just kind of felt not off-putting, but it felt different to see her in a role like this, where she's a wife, a mother of quadruple kids, and has a slightly overbearing mother-in-law, but at the same time there's some real love between the whole family. Madeir, I feel like it was obviously a play on Medea. I just every time I heard that, this isn't even a Tyler Perry production, but I just really feel like Medea. You could not tell me you didn't hear Medea the first time you heard it. A Netflix original. Come on, Loretta Devine. I think she was the one who really sucked me into the show. Like you can never see Loretta Devine on TV and not be in a good mood because she got something for everybody. That's all I'm saying. I just feel like when Charlie Wilson come up in there, girl, how you doing? Just that's why I love Black. They don't make Black shows like back in the day. Remember like Family Matters, One on One, Jamie Foxx show, Steve Harvey show. You would have these big name artists and actors just make these special guest cameos, and then the live studio audience would go nuts. Like those were big deals. Like when Johnny Gill showed up on Family Matters. Yes, I know there was the New Edition episode, but there was also the Johnny Gill episode. I think it was like a bet where Steve told Laura, hey, my friend Johnny, because nobody believed he knew Johnny Gill. But I think it was like a trade for a baseball card or something like that. But in any case, it was like, hey, sing to Laura so she'll go out with me. But then Laura fainted. And then, there were just so many prominent episodes like that. So to see Charlie Wilson what was it, like episode 2? I lost it. It was great. But then you also have some, some good moral lessons. Like hell, in episode 10, racial profiling by the police. When Jade in episode 1 met all those other girls from the teenage group, they were taken aback by the fact that she knew nothing about like the Black Panthers and whatnot. And the list goes on. I think one of my favorites was probably episode 3 because who doesn't have memories of Vacation Bible School? And it's like, the teacher, feeling like the know-it-all champion. But as a kid, when you're able to get a few questions right to rival them, it was really cool to see Jade and her siblings work together on that. It was just great. Let me see what else we got here. I just really enjoyed. This is a feel-good show. This is honestly the best way to sum it up. A feel-good show. It feels authentic. But it does have a slight problem. I mean, but then again, I get it. Parents are the ones who make decisions. Maybe it's because I didn't have to move as a child. That's probably why, I feel like a bit indifferent about it. But as, parents, wouldn't you think that it's important to explain to your kids about moving? It just, I believe originally the family, they were in Seattle, but then they moved all the way back to where Maz's parents lived at, and Seattle, Washington to Columbus, Georgia. That's a long distance away. Seattle, Washington, if I remember my geography, is way on the northern west coast of the United States above California. To move all the way down to Columbus, Georgia, it's like you make that decision randomly at the family reunion. Like the rationale was making sense, but at the same time, it's like I would want to, inform the children about it. I get it. Like, hey, I'm the parent, but at the same time, all their friends, everything they know, to just uproot them like that just felt like a bit spur of the moment. Kind of like on Assisted Living, the Tyler Perry show, where Jeremy and his wife decided, oh yeah, we're going to move because the kids didn't even know their dad lost his job and everything. So in assisted living, it was a rundown living facility, but at the same time, Maz and his family move all the way down to Georgia to live in his parents' house until they find their own spot to live. So there were a lot of adjustments that needed to be made. For the most part, the kids and their interactions with other people in their age group, I feel like this show, I would rather watch and review this show than Tyler Perry's Assisted Living, just because I like the aspect of we have different characters, but we also have different characters within the age group. Like the kids just aren't there to hang out with themselves. They have family members from the union, people who go to that church, people from school. So I feel like there's a little something for everybody. Obviously, it's like Jade is the main child amongst the children, but I don't feel like there's anybody who's taking up space. Everybody has, a certain purpose within the show. And so I really feel like overall there's a lot going on here. where, the children and the adults face different trials and tribulations. Jade with her skin complexion. I believe there was an episode in regards to like what was it, like a beauty pageant or something like that, and it's something about also what was it, like a dress code where the girls were in detention because apparently the principal said their clothes don't fit the dress code where the guys don't. So there was a bit of a protest about that. And I just feel like overall this was a solid series. I mean, I definitely see why people kept asking me, hey, when are you going to review it? And well, yeah, I think I'll do a video like this for every part. Like eventually I'll watch part 2. Well, at least the next 10 episodes. Apparently part 2 is 16 episodes, where the first 8 episodes dropped last month, and then later this year, I believe they're going to drop the back half of part 2, season 2. But yeah, good black show. I like how in episode 1 they tackle a lot of, good things where parents, I mean, I know people, like your elders teach you the way they know how, but at the same time, they have to learn that things aren't the way they were when they were younger. Like the new age parents, even though I do feel like those kids should have got a whipping for all the stuff they tore up in episode 1. What was it when the little kids came in the room that Jade was staying in, when Madea said no little kids were in there aside from Jade, but then they come up there and break a few things and nobody gets a whooping. I'm like, I get it. Times are different. But at the same time, I feel like the biggest thing for me was the church thing where, you're the son of a pastor and you're talking about being a bedside Baptist. I guess for me is the thing about how, there are different ways to worship. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't go to church. I'm not saying that. I just feel like, if you're a parent who raised your child to be in church and whatnot, once they're an adult, it's kind of up to them, you have to trust and have faith that, you did all you could as a parent to introduce them to God, and what your child does in their own walk with Christ should be, their own thing. I get it. But even the episode where Coco was upset that the children got, ATVs, go-karts or whatever. I can relate to that. I had go-karts growing up, but I know my sister, she loves it. I was never a big fan of fast driving. So like even the 4-wheeler, I don't think I'll ever go over 15 miles. Like my nephew, even when he was like, before he was 10, this boy was driving like crazy, but that's just how it is. Like when you're raised a certain way, you kind of expect your kids to be the same, but not necessarily. Like, as a kid, you got into a crash or whatever, you kind of just shook it off and got back to riding. You didn't just quit, go to the hospital, it's like, no, you shake it off. It's like, go down, take a nap, lay on the couch, put your leg up. The next thing you know, you back out there on the ATV. So there's a lot to really take in about parenting styles, family interactions, and even Jade, when she felt a bit insufferable, you kind of understood where she was coming from. Her parents made this massive decision, but at the same time, you can see how her parents and how they raised her conflicts with how Madea interacts with her. Like the fact that she was about to get a whooping for telling her to stay out of her business, but then she threw the pie back at her like, hey, I know you bought that store-bought pie and that's how you won the contest. I thought that was great. So overall, this is a good show. I definitely cannot wait to eventually watch part 2. Oh yeah, that's right. The Oval mid-season finale is this week, meaning that the week of the 17th is going to be a pretty dry week for me in regards of nothing to review. I might use that time to go home because I haven't been home in a while, but who knows? And on top of that, that's pretty much all I have to say for the video. I liked it. This was a pretty good start to a pretty solid series. And let me know what you think. I thought this was better than Dad Stop Embarrassing Me. And it's good to see wholesome black content like this. I feel like overall, it didn't feel super, quote unquote, corny or foolish. It definitely had a vibe of a sitcom I would grow up watching. That's the best way to put it. So with that being said, thanks so much for tuning in. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App. And with that being said, I'll catch you all later.